I've got a lot to say.
Okay, well,
I did
welcome
not.
everybody
Yeah.
to It's an
Welcome.
Okay podcast. This is our first episode.
Jumbo.
Jumbo.
I'm from Michigan.
We are all sisters. We decided to make a podcast together called It's an Okay Podcast because everyone always tells us we should have a show. So this is our show where we just be sisters together in front of other people. So
Yeah, you guys
Love
get
to see
finally loves to see it. You get to finally see what it's like to be a part of our tribe, but not really be a part of our tribe.
So rude.
Wow. It's like when you send an email and it's like read only. Like you can't edit it, actually. You can only read it. You do not have authorization to edit this email, but you can see it.
You guys are so rude.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's appreciated. Are we going into the explanation of why we started this podcast?
Well, Beth
So-
really loves the Kardashians.
Okay, can I tell my point of view? So, people always are like, you guys are so funny. You're so funny. And we don't see it because this is just us. This is how we
Oh,
grow
no,
up.
I
babes.
see it.
Speak
I
for yourself.
know
I
it.
see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Wow. Don't gang up on me at once.
it.
Don't gang up on me at once.
I see it. Not gonna lie. No cap.
2020 vision, boo. I see it.
But clearly I'm blind to this because I didn't see it. But everybody says we're funny. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
I guess.
So it's called It's an Okay Podcast because our last name is Okpodu, so OKPODU. And so Elizabeth, the creative genius that she is,
That's right.
was like,
Speak
why
on
don't you
it.
explain it, Elizabeth? No,
Speak
go
on
ahead.
it.
You got it.
So,
You got
okay,
it, girl.
so listen. Okay, so I had to take a poll one night because I called my sisters and we're on the phone and they're really going, like, I sent them, my sister was like, Corey was like, what do you think we should name the thing? I said, It's an Okay Podcast. Crickets. Neither of them
You
wrote
sent
back.
it early. I have a full-time job
Me too.
and I'm a full-time mom.
I'm not that, but
Okay.
I still have
People
full-time
have
job.
different priorities, Beth.
Whatever. Anyways, I sent it like first thing in the morning. These heifers left it on red and decided to talk about everything else but the title I sent them. And then Corey was like, again, what do you think we should name? I said, I already sent you a name. It's an Okay Podcast. And they're like,
Okay, hold on.
not
No.
really.
You're going to tell the story, tell it accurately. You were saying It's an Okay Podcast and you.
Can you let me get there?
No, actually, you didn't even say It's an Okay Podcast. You said Okay Podcast and you.
Yeah,
Okay,
tell
whatever.
it right. Because
Anyway.
if you're going to tell it right.
If you're going to tell it right.
Period.
And tell it
Anyways,
all. Period.
Period. So I have to call them at like 9:00 at night because they're already talking to each other. So I have to get 3-way into their phone call. And
Because you were at the gym.
you're right. But I wasn't on the phone call. So
Because you were at the gym.
whatever. That's beside the point. So I wasn't on this phone call, but I got finally segued into this phone call. And we're talking, and I'm like, you guys didn't see my like title. And they're like, well, we were thinking about something else, like Our Poor Mother. And I'm like, y'all, like our last name, it's funny because it's a play on words. Like it's a play on words. And Corey's like, well, I am not branded to our last name. That is true. But so originally, because it's OKPODU, I'm thinking, it's an okay
No,
podcast.
you did not say it. You just said Okay Podcast.
She's going to get up here and start lying.
She is. Lie to the people. You said Okay Podcast and you. And then when we
You
got
guys
on
are
the phone,
making this story so much longer than it needs to be. It's
no,
so
that's
we're
because you
just
keep
trying-
omitting the
Yeah, we're
keep
just trying to
omitting
keep it
details
accurate
and
here.
lying.
Fact checker.
Sure, it's short and sweet when you ignore the truth.
okay, whatever. I remember it differently. Perception is not always reality.
I do not recall.
Wow.
So I'm like, it's funny because it's an okay podcast. Like if
Oh my
somebody comes up
gosh.
to you, like, what? Listen, if they're like, what are you listening to? You're like, it's an okay podcast.
Oh my
and
God.
you.
Where's the truth? You said Okay Podcast and you. Then we got on the phone and Corinne and I were brainstorming because Okay Podcast and you wasn't like, wasn't giving all the way. And so then when we got on the phone, we were talking about it. You were lobbying for it. You were very persuasive. And I said, Well, I think if we were going to do that, we could say it's an okay podcast, but not do the and you. And then you kept saying and you, and you, and you. And we're like, does this ring a bell? I mean, are you understanding? Then we settled on it's an okay podcast. That's where we ended up.
Whatever, I'm getting cheap.
And that's how we. Oh wow! And that's how we got to the name of this beautiful podcast. And I love it. You know, I'm here for it. I am on board. Now
Me too. I love it. You know, created some graphics. It's beautiful.
We did. And it was like a collective thing. You know, Beth brought us a delicious cake and we frosted it. Well, you frosted it and then I put the candles on. We made a cake.
Carly said that she does like It's an Okay podcast. She said it's very cute.
It is cute.
It is cute, and it's, you know, it's not like somebody can take it because it's really like our last name.
Yes, that's true. Very, very true. Also, Jen said that she did like Our Poor Mother. Just saying, just throwing that out there. That was equally nice. Okay, so that's how we came up with our podcast name.
Okay, so we want to put in some call to actions for you guys. I want you guys to go on our page and tell us who you think is oldest, middle, and youngest, just from this conversation, because you guys might not know, or you might know. Either way, we'll pin your comment if you get it right. The first person to get it right.
Good luck.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
I was thinking the same. As I was saying, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, you were thinking it.
I know that you said it.
And do you guys see this tomfoolery that I deal with these conversations?
Beth, you love being here.
I literally
absolutely love being here.
She does.
Yeah.
She loves being able to edit the Word document, okay? Okay, so getting into our first segment. I'm so excited. I'll let Beth take it over.
Yes. Well, welcome to the segment. I like to call this Bitches Be Trying Me. Because what? It's the truth.
The segment's now called No Filter because
absolutely not.
Go ahead, girl. Let it out.
What?
Let it out.
Put it in the birdwood. You don't really need a filter for this section or for this segment because I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to keep it real flat, real raw. So, I just feel like I'm not the only one that has to deal with difficult people. But I really do feel like people try me a lot more than they try other people. Last night, I found myself being nice. And I was like, I just gave somebody my debit card. And I was like, get us some drinks. And they're like, yeah, sure thing. They swiped my card, brought my drink back. And they said, oh, yeah, I only got you one drink. But I checked my bank account this morning. And $40-some is missing.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
But how much are the drinks at the club?
The drinks were $6.
Are you for real?
I'm dead ass. Where the fuck is my $34? So I I took a screenshot of my account. I reached out to the person. I said, well, for one, I was sober. So I only pulled my card out once, so I know that my card should have only been swiped once. So I reached out to them. I was like, look, I'm gonna just ask them, even though it's like that. Just like when your mom's like, who ate the watermelon?
Why are you using real examples?
I was like, wait, I swear that actually happened.
It did, but it was our grandmother. But continue.
You see, I changed the person in the story. I didn't. It's like somebody asking that, and you only know there's 4 people in the house, so it has to be one of you in here. I only took my card out once, and I only gave it to one other person, so it's not adding up,
right?
So I took a screenshot, sent it to him, and I was just kind of hey, you said you closed out my account, and you said that you only paid for one drink, but what are these charges? And homeboy was like, oh my gosh, what? That's crazy. I need to check my account. And at that point, I'm like, all right. I'm about to lose my shit on this person. Straight up. I'm just going to lose it. So I was just, you know what? I drove to the place. I said, I need an itemized receipt.
She drove back to the bar.
You know what? I would expect nothing less.
Me neither.
Honestly, this is the energy that she gives.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting to the bottom of this.
We're getting to the bottom of this. Because the one thing about I don't like is when bitches try me. And they like, think about it is I am very much like, I think the truth is so much better said, because at that point you're giving me the option to deal with what it is up front. But when you like lie about something, you are not giving me that courtesy that I can't, because then now not only have you lied, and then when I found out the truth, I've got to like, that's a double.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, just tell me the truth. I don't really care about all that extra stuff.
Right.
Just if you swipe my card more than once, just say what it is. Like, oh yeah, sorry, like I got you the next time we go out. That would have been cool. That's not what happened.
Right.
So I drove back to the place. I said, I need an itemized receipt for both of these charges. And then I sent them an email as well. Basically I said, and I'm gonna need this by Monday, or I'm going to my bank and I'm reporting these for fraud.
Period.
You know, and just one of the ways in my life where people try me that should I go there?
You should go there 1000%.
Oh my God.
That's what the people are here for. People come for who you are. So
that's true. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point.
So let it rain, girl. Let it rain.
Let it sing. So like in the restaurant industry, people try you all the time. In an office settings, they try you all the time, but they have kind of like a code of conduct to hide behind. So they have roundabout ways of trying you.
Right.
It's to the point where like I printed a document one time in color. You guys would have thought I had shot this woman's dog. Like freaking out. Like I printed one paper in color. It had like one or two words in red. Like, are you really spazzing on color? Toner is so expensive. Okay, sis, all you have to say is like, hey, next time just print in black and white. Where did that go? Where did that common decency go, where people just like tell you things that are just so simple instead of just like spazzing on you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a personality thing or if it's an energy level thing, because I tend to like, I deal with difficult people. I mean, everyone does. It's a part of life. But I feel like I am like so low energy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like I literally don't have the energy to argue with you. So if that's what you want to do, okay. Like I'll hit you with a quick okay and just be like, do what you need to do.
Oh, I know you will. And people just get like, so it's like that lady in the window with the curtains.
What lady in the window with the curtains?
There's like, it's like a blonde lady. It's from some like movie. It's like old time. You have to show it to you. But like, she's like standing in the curtains, like angry because like when you're like, okay, I swear that's how people probably react to you. Because I've seen you do it before. You're like, that's your opinion. And then you'll just like move on.
And I legitimately move on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm legitimately not mad. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like, But think about it is for me, I'm like, what the fuck, bitch? What did you say?
Yeah, I feel like that's such a big difference between the two of us, like, or between the three of us. You can on the spot, Elizabeth, just like, if something makes you mad, you're like, this is why I'm mad, and this is why you ain't shit, and this is why, you know what I mean? Like, you'll read the situation so well. Samelia's just like very quiet. She like sits and she marinates on the situation. I just cry. I'm like, listen, this hurt me and I feel very hurt by it. And I don't know where else to put this energy. So I'm just going to cry. And I just cry.
But I do the same because like, for me, after that situation, like I felt so violated.
Yeah.
I was just, but for me, it's anger first, sadness after.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
So like, I'm not sad and then angry. I'm like angry. And then after I've had time to stew on that anger, I am sad that I'm angry.
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's like, I need to think about it first. I'm like, how do I feel about this?
Right. That's
like
so earth sign of you.
I'm like, do I really feel, am I actually angry? Maybe I'm mad because of the way I'm processing this. Let me take some time and think about how I feel. And then like, if it happens again, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like this. And then if it happens like a third time, then I'll say something. But it's always like, like, are we okay? Like, do you have a problem? Because you keep doing these things and I don't understand why. So like, I'm always trying to understand like the reason behind why people are doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I feel like or if I feel or learn that it's like they're doing it because they're just trying to be mean, then I have a problem.
Yeah.
Like if there's an actual reason, there's something that I can do differently, then I'm happy to try to adjust. But if it's like you're just being mean, then if that's what you want to do, we can do it. But
if that's what you want to do, we could go outside.
we can do it. But I
We
really
can step
don't want to be. I don't want to live in that space. It's not a very peaceful place to live.
Yeah. Some people cannot bounce back to normalcy after they've gotten their anger so high up.
Yes.
Me.
And
I am that person.
Yeah. I feel like there are definitely levels to your anger, Beth. I feel like if you are pushed to the point where like you're like raging, I miss the rage. If you're like if you're like all the way up there, I feel like there's definitely no coming back from it that day and maybe even the day after. But I feel like if you only get a little bit mad, you're really good at bouncing back. I even get like a little bit mad. I'm like in my bathroom lighting sage. I'm like, let me just home, like, because it's like, there's just like even irritation. I'm like, I'm out for the rest.
But I feel like people don't understand that about me. I think that they think that it's like, oh, she's brooding again. It's like, I'm not brooding. The thing about it is that like the other day I had an incident where I had to like snap quick, call out somebody because they were talking to me in a very patronizing and sarcastic tone. And I had to just be like, you have one, like, while mid combo, like we're just talking, right? And they're talking down to me. And mid combo, I said, you got one more time to talk to me like that.
I can never. I like, it takes me so long to even figure out how I feel that like, I wish I could. Like, I wish I could access my, like, I can access like happiness very quickly, but like, it takes me a long time to process like agitation or anger.
Because if I don't speak on it, for me, it will push me into rage.
Yeah.
That's so fair. It feel like when somebody is like, it's like poking the bear. It's like the bear's going to give you 1 or 2 warnings before it decides it wants to rip your face off.
I don't even think the bear gives warning. I think the bear's just like, all right.
Yeah, the bear doesn't give warning.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like for me it's overwhelming because I'm like I can't process my emotions in that way. And so I'm like, I'm always like in awe. I'll like, you'll be so mad. And then I'll call you like 20 minutes later and you're like, I'm like, hello. And you're like, hey girl.
No, literally, I called you earlier and I was so upset when you were at lunch and I was like, I was so ready to go. And that's why sometimes I get irritated because I'm like, if I'm in that moment, I want to vent about it in that moment, because as soon as you call me like 10 minutes later, I've already chucked it.
Yeah. We talked about that the other day. We talked about memory and like how Beth is like, I chuck memories like every year. And I'm like, I don't. I hold them for like 10 years. And I'm like,
Cora was like, high school. I said, oh girl, I haven't remembered that in years. Like, let's be serious. Like, you remember when I would like be in my dating phase and somebody would be like, how is so-and-so? And I'd be like, who?
I'd be like, wait, what? What?
You just told me about them yesterday. And I'm like, I don't remember.
No, but literally, I'm like, Beth, you just told me about him yesterday. You're like, I really don't know. It doesn't ring a bell.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not joking. It's like, it's a real thing. I don't know if it's like a trauma response, but I seriously I chuck and dump, and I like it. And the next day it's like a whole new day. So it's like, I don't record memories during the day. I'm just kind of here. And then the next day it's like, well,
you're here again.
Yeah, here again. Let's see what bitch will try me today.
Oh my gosh. Well, stay tuned to see what bitch tries on the next episode.
Samilia, who are your difficult people that you have to deal with?
You know,
LOL. I feel like I know who you're gonna say, but go ahead.
I think we're all thinking it.
Yeah, but you said it.
Dear Mr. Lyle Hampton.
Oh my gosh, she's gonna have a BF.
What's that? She's gonna have a bitch fit. You gotta get out of here.
I find that the people who I have the most challenging time with are people who I was like close to at one point in time. Like, yeah, like other people don't really know how to get under my skin really, so it doesn't really bother me.
Right.
But I feel like people who you used to be close with and then, you know, you're not close with anymore, they kind of have more insight on who you are. And so they're able to like push your buttons a little bit more. But my response to him, I guess, is very earth sign-esque because like the way I deal with it really is trying to self-regulate myself more so than like trying to get them to do anything to change, because I just feel like people, like if someone is intentionally doing something to like bother you or to be difficult, in my mind, like there's nothing I can say to this person that's going to make them stop. So I have to figure out how to regulate myself. And so most of the like tools that I use to deal with like difficult people are about self-regulation. So like trying to feel grounded and like, okay, let me just, take a moment and breathe or like remove myself, because I just feel like if I've already, me, so like I don't like that. And if you're doing it anyways and you know that I don't like it, then you're intentionally trying to bother me. And so
yeah, it only takes you one time to tell me you don't like something. I'm like, not gonna do that again.
Yeah, because typically it takes me a long time to get to the point to tell you that I don't like something. So if I've already gotten to that place where I'm like, look, I've already told you that I don't like this and you keep doing it, then what can I do? I've already said it and I don't have a lot of energy.
No, you know what you'll do? You're like, I'm just not gonna talk to you. Like, I'm just not gonna answer your calls.
You were being really mean, Beth.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's one of the things that you'll do. Like I had never experienced that though, because like our relationship has always been like a parent-child relationship. Yeah. It was never like sisters.
Which we're gonna definitely get into in later episodes. So you guys, for real, stick around because you'll want to hear it.
You'll want to hear.
Gosh, you'll want to hear the tea.
Ooh, girl,
it's not tea. It's just like life,
It's like diet water. Not really tea. It's like ice. It's like flavored water. It's still.
What is that stuff you drink, Beth? Crystal Light.
I drink kombucha now.
Ooh, do you like Health-Ade brand?
No, guys, I drink the one with the lion on it from Wegmans. Shout out to Wegmans for having that.
Shout out to Wegmans. Shout out to them people. Mad healthy right now.
Mad ethnic with it. I get it. No, so that's kind of how I deal with difficult people. I tend to turn more inward than like outward because I don't like to like lose control. And so I'm like, okay. Music makes you lose control. Let's go. What about you, Corinne?
Wow, I was actually thinking about it while you guys were both talking. And since quarantine started, I don't go around people a lot. So I feel like, I don't know, people just disappoint me. Like, I feel like, so I just try I don't know if it's because I have really high expectations or what it is, but like, I tend to get really disappointed by people really easily. And so I just try my best to like stay away from people because like I said, when people are difficult towards me, like I feel like it's not funny. You know that, Oh, you know that video of Wendy Williams? She's like, yeah, like that's how I am. I just get so overwhelmed so easily, and my mind goes from like 0. It's not like 0 to anger 100. It's like 0 to like how can I get away from this situation? How can I make it so I don't have to deal with this situation? Like I'm like ready to quit at the like slightest like thing that goes wrong.
Yeah.
So it's very
I witnessed that.
But I feel like sometimes when like things go wrong, to me, I'm like, where's the disconnect? Why is this happening? What can we do to fix it? And I feel like if I can't find a solution to fix it, I just am gonna be like, no, I'm not dealing with it. I refuse. I just don't think I was built for bullshit. Like I really just don't think I was built for it.
I love that.
I don't know how to deal with it, so I don't. Like it's really just it's not even shutting down. It's just like I just don't know how to put, like, I can put you in your place now. You know what I mean? Like if I really sit on it, because I do be reading people for filth.
Oh, you do every day, ladies and gentlemen, every day.
I only read you for filth out of niceness. That's love.
What?
because look, you have to get to, like, if I get to a place where I know you well enough, like I'm like, these are the things that I witness, and I'm not, look, I'm just joking,
because when you read me for filth, it's like it's always out of love.
It's
like,
always
girl,
out of love.
Is that really how you feel? And I'm like, can you and your cancer feelings, go sit somewhere else. Take that water somewhere else. Okay.
It's because I sit with I literally don't like dealing with people, so I just sit with myself all the time. I'm constantly reading myself for Phil.
Yeah, I know you are. It's different. You are, but it's different. It's a different read when it's a difficult person.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
We're like I think that we're all like mirrors and like polar opposites. It's crazy because I feel like Corey's like the good angel and I'm the one that's with the shit. So I'm like,
you are.
Yeah, girl.
You're like, do it, girl. And I'm like,
Do
no,
it, girl.
that's really, you're like, do it.
Out.
But it's good. It's such a good balance because I feel like there are some times where you need to cuss someone out. Yeah. And Beth is there to like coach you through it. I really do.
Yeah, she really is.
You go to Beth when you want to cuss someone out, really.
Or if you want strategy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, we talk about all the time chess and checkers.
Yeah.
I am playing checkers. Chess. Elizabeth is playing chess.
Dealing with people, for me, especially difficult people, they're playing checkers always. And
which is so weird to me. I'm like, you know, you guys could choose peace, right?
They could choose peace, but the thing about it is they choose not to. And I'm like, my sign is the sign of balance and peace. Yeah, and like, but
that's true. Jabria, are you smart?
Yes.
Good job.
Good job.
So yeah, like my sign is the sign of peace and balance, but people do not want peace and balance. And my thing about it is, okay, if you don't want to get peaceful, we can get rowdy. I bring both.
I can't do it. Like if I think that someone is doing something to me purposely to like, I'm just gonna like get upset. I am going to cry, and then I'm just gonna like, maybe I'm too soft. Maybe I need to like.
I get upset.
I don't think you're too soft, Corinne.
I get upset, Corinne.
I need to say no to people more.
Probably.
It's not even about saying no. It's just about like, because my thing about it is I say no to people and they still try me. I don't think it has anything to do with being able to say no. I think honestly, at the end of the day, it's just people who have no respect for other people and their boundaries. Like just people that are going to try you. Don't care if you're going to say no. You can say no all day. They're still going to ask. Like there was a guy who I was dealing with. I gave him an answer. He was like, when do I need to have this in? I said on the 10th. He goes, but when do I need to have this 10? This is like 5 email chains, you guys. I'm like, on the 10th. He goes, but like when on the 10th? I said, no later than 11:59 on the 10th. He goes, okay, so what, like when? And I was like, if you ask this again, I will cancel.
Right.
Because you're looking for a different answer. You're looking for a different response. And honey, I'm not going to give it to you. I've already given you the answer, but you're trying to be difficult because you want me to say something different.
Right.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to how people deal with you in your personal life. They will do stuff to you thinking that they're going to get the reaction or the response that they want. And when you don't give it to them, they try other ways in which they want that response. And then when you finally pop off.
Oh, listen, do I have an anecdote?
Point them out.
Okay. So, I used to be, acquainted with this person. They just like, if they're close to you, they're going to push their button just to see how far they can push you. And so they like, if you know me, anybody who knows me, the number one thing you need to do if you consider yourself a friend of mine,
stream my music.
Well, yeah, that, but it's wish me a happy birthday. Like,
oh, sorry.
That is another thing. There's lots of rules. I'm lying. There's not one cardinal rule. There's like 10 of them. There's a lot.
There's a whole list. It's like, don't breathe on me in the morning. Don't look at me in the morning. Don't look at me in the eye when I wake up. There's a lot.
If you get me anything for my birthday and it's not what I actually want.
A side note to her story: this girl puts in the group chat, in the family group chat with 3 other people.
Oh my God!
I'm not telling the story. Anyway, back to my story.
You would think that we didn't get this girl anything for her birthday.
You would think we
would think we didn't get her anything.
Mom didn't get me anything.
Well, that's between you know what.
That's out of my hands. That's
not here to defend herself. Mom is not here to defend herself. Mm-hmm. But I know Beth and I both, made sure you were good for at least 2 weeks.
Girl, I was out here cussing people out in the group chat.
Yeah. I'm appreciative. I appreciate what you guys got me.
She's like, but that's not what I asked for.
I just, honestly, that was chopped down to the fact that my life has taken a really different course recently.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to adjust to it. So I don't think I would have been happy with anything. String ego.
Available on all services where you stream music.
back to my story. They would do things. So like I had a crush on this girl. We were hanging out again for the first time, and I invited this person with me kind of as like a wing person. And they flirted with this girl the whole time. And then when we left the bar, I was like quiet because I'm like, yo, like I invited you as a wing person and you were flirting with the person I brought you to like accompany me with, right?
Yeah.
And they gaslit me the whole ride home. Just for like a year later, they like came over and was like, yeah, you remember that one time I was like, I told you I didn't flirt with that person? I actually did. And I was just like, I know you did. Like, you don't have to sit in my
What
face.
a weirdo.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't have to sit in my face and like lie because I already knew that you were like, you're not a good liar. No matter how much you like pretend that you are, you're not a good liar.
Right.
And then
Beyonce.
Shakira.
Yes.
But like this person texted me very, very recently and was just like, I don't understand why there's an issue between us. Now, this person, I haven't heard from this person in like 2-3 years. So it was just very out of the blue. And it's really not even a thing of like, we haven't talked, right? Because there are some people like my best friend from high school just recently reached out to me and we haven't really talked a lot. But when we hung out, it was like nothing had ever like changed. It's like how you treat me when we do speak.
Yeah.
And which Similia definitely helped me like get through that thought process. But like dealing with that, I don't, to me, it's so like pointless to try to argue with people who are like playing checkers and they think they're playing chess.
Yeah.
To be like, why we have issues when it's like, well, we haven't spoken. And like the times that we do speak, you're like constantly yelling at me. Like anytime I speak to you, you feel like I am saying something that is out to get you. And I can't be friends with someone who thinks I'm out to get them because I don't have enough energy to even get me.
It's not a safe space. Like you can't have a friendship if there's no trust. Really.
Right.
Well, and that's projection. They're projecting their fear because they're out to get you.
Yeah.
It's like the boyfriend that's like
scary. Ew.
checking your phone. It is. It's true. It's like the boyfriend that checks your phone because for fear that, you know, you're talking to somebody, like lo and behold, he's talking to his ex.
That was so personal.
It was personal.
That was so personal. Like I heard it. And lo and behold, he's talking to his ex.
I mean, what? I can only give personal experiences.
You're right. You're 1000% right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, that's what that is. It's projection. And I'm learning that, like, with people, the reason we deal with difficult people is because they're projecting their fears onto us. And like, the thing about it is, I don't have any fears like that.
Yeah.
I fear not being, you know, making things that are on my vision board come true. That are my fears. But what you're doing in your life has nothing to do with the trajectory of mine because, honey, if he wanted it to be the same, it would be, and it's not, because you'll never amount to what I amount to. No, I'm just kidding. We went there.
We took it there. You don't want to take it there.
Because you don't want to take it there.
A question for you guys to finish out our difficult people segment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel like people who have maybe a higher calling are going to deal with more difficult people? Or do you feel like everyone deals with difficult people, but it's just like how you react to it?
Can I go first?
Of course you can.
I absolutely 1000% believe that people with a higher calling are expected to deal with more because I'm gonna put it to you this way, not only biblical, and I'll let somebody handle the biblical aspect because she be telling me I need to read my Bible and, you know, my verses be wrong. So the reason I believe that that's true because like y'all can attest to this. Like this is not, I haven't started dealing with difficult people in my adult life. This has been ongoing since childhood. And it's not like things that are like, oh, you know, somebody looked at me wrong. It's like, I was bullied.
Yeah.
You know, in high school, had to switch high schools. Then I got to the other high school. In that high school, they thought they were going to bully me, but I was already over being bullied. So I think that's where I gained my voice because the 2 years I was so quiet because I was so afraid to like speak up for myself that when I found my voice when I switched schools, everybody was getting lit up. And so they were. And that's why, I feel like because I am a person that will call you out, I think that's why people tend to either I get a lot of frenemies, I get a lot of people that are fake in my face, and they think that I don't recognize their BS behind my back. But that's one of the things where it's like, if and when my success takes off, that's one of those things where it's like I can look at that person and be like, I have no interest in dealing with a person like you, because you are difficult, and you're not difficult in terms of like saying things. I mean, you're difficult with how you handle me with other people, and I feel like I can't have people like that around me.
Yeah, I think it'll look different for different people, so different personality types, because I too I too am a Black woman.
I too. Yes, Rachel.
Yeah, like I was bullied in high school, but it would be over like dumb things, but it would be extreme. I'm like, you guys are really going to steal my whole cell phone and like call my house phone and like leave like threatening messages? But my way of doing it, I think, was kind of like, basically, I think they were responding to my light. And I think that oftentimes your inner light, if maybe that's what you mean by higher calling, but I think your inner light shines. Mm-hmm. And for people who haven't done their own self-work, to like realize that they too have a light and that they could spend their time fostering and cultivating their own light. I think when they see your light, they immediately it's like my brightness is triggering something in you, but it's really just, it's like a notification to yourself to do work within yourself so you can feel good about yourself and not try to pull other people down. And so I think my way of doing that, of dealing with it, was like when I moved high schools, was to like kind of shield my light and kind of pretend like it wasn't as bright as it actually was. So I'm like, because I really would just rather skirt under the radar, and then I end up somewhere and you're like, oh, how did you end up there? And it's like, yeah, I don't know, girl. Like, it's kind of like dealing with difficult people for me has made me think about how to like move in silence more. So I don't diminish what I do, but I just move in silence a lot more. And so then when I recognize people as difficult, I think it's been a beautiful lesson. And like, okay, this is someone that I need to avoid.
Yeah.
As opposed to like getting mad, I'm more like at peace because they've revealed themselves, and now I don't have to wonder whether or not they're for me or not for me. And I mean, I don't know that I think the way that you handle the challenges also kind of elevates you to the next level as well. So I don't necessarily know if you're fat because I hate you, or I hate you because you're fat. You know,
she doesn't know if the chicken or the egg came first.
Yeah, I don't know which one came first, but I think when you're able to like, get past a different level, you kind of ascend to the next level. And the way that you're able to maneuver that kind of grows your spiritual strength, and your inner light, which prepares you to do great things and be a light in the world.
I 1000% agree with everything that both of you guys said. Just to add on, like, I've had in my life people come up to me and be like, Corinne, I don't know why people like mess with you, because you literally mind your business. I'm a hermit crab. I literally do not try to like talk to other people or get involved with other people, because I just like being by myself. I've always been that way. I really enjoy like just sitting in my own solitude. My thing in life is I want to live a life so unapologetic that it inspires other people to live unapologetically. But I think because there are people who are living in their own restrictions that the world has put on them, and instead of saying no to those restrictions, they're mad at me or mad at whoever because I'm not living within those guidelines of what other people tell me. And it upsets them because they're like, well, if I have to, you have to. And it's like, absolutely not. Instead of thinking in that mentality of you have to also live in that, why don't you let me inspire you to not live into that restriction and to break free and have liberation and solitude that you want to have. Let me inspire you instead of becoming upset with me because you feel like I have something, or I exude something that you want more of.
Right. Sis had people mad at her. Corey shaved her whole head and people were still mad. And it was like, dang.
Because I'm beautiful.
You are.
You are,
You
but
are
I'm saying like
beautiful.
it's like the thing
And I
that
will
society has put so much pressure on. And
Mhm.
even in that, even in you being like, okay, fine, I'm gonna shave my head. Fine, you want to? I'm gonna tell your mother.
And right before the yearbook pictures,
I
what are we gonna tell our grandchildren? You know
It's
what?
because I'm keeping it real.
look at Lawrence's head.
It's the
It's
mom.
the bomb.
Yeah. So like, I just feel like I think all of you are right. Like all of you, the both of you are right, and I think it's true. I do think I see the light because I feel like I think people see your potential, your full potential before you actually are able to see it. Because I don't see my full potential, but I have so many people like, oh my God, you're killing it out here. And I'm like, dang, it's mediocre at
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. For sure. For sure, people see other things that you don't quite see yet.
Yeah.
People knew I was gay before I... People be like, lesbian! I'm like, how do you know?
One hint of advice that I have for people that are dealing with difficult people, and I say this to my family all the time, is I'm coming for that job. And I mean, and you just need to live your life
the
by
way that is the way you're playing chess.
Yeah, I'm coming for that job. So in your head, when you're dealing with difficult people, whether there's somebody over you, you need to just put in your mind, I'm about to take their job.
Get his dance.
And my piece of advice would be, so I just read this book called The Four Agreements. And this is my second time reading it, but there are like 4 agreements. 1 is be impeccable with your word. 2 is don't take things personally. 3 is don't make assumptions. And 4 is always do your best. And number 2, the don't take anything personally. Like, I think when you're able to get to a place where you're like, look, if I haven't done anything to you and you're coming at me this way, this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you.
Right.
So nothing that someone else is doing is actually about you. It's about their own issues. So what it says is that what others say and do is a projection of their own reality and their own dream. And when you're immune to the options and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. And so for me, I think the biggest piece of advice when it comes to dealing with difficult people is to like don't let the haters keep you from doing your thing. You feel me?
Give it a pour.
She's silent when I sneak in the door.
Well, on that note, my advice is kind of similar, but basically just spend time with yourself, like know yourself. Wallet. Anyway, that's
no sleeping in the street.
Shiki warrior. I would really say spend time with yourself, and like basically what Samantha was saying, like if you know yourself well enough, you'll know like if it is you who's doing something wrong, or if it's truly like someone who's just far, far away out of pocket. People are going to be difficult, but the way you stick it to difficult people is by showing them you don't need them. People are going to treat you how they treat you because they think that you need them. They think you have to be around them. Show people you don't need, you, Jesus, water, and to stay black and die. You don't need none of that other stuff. So don't let people treat you how they push you over and do whatever. Because if you know yourself and you like yourself and you enjoy spending time with yourself, it ain't nothing to cut that. Oh, it ain't nothing because you have it. You don't need anything from them.
Obviously we're coming off the week of Rolling Loud, but recently this just came across my timeline because I know that we're all trying to be successful businesswomen, and we like to make fun of mom being our like momager, even though she's not. But she does a terrible job. Love you, mom. You're not good.
You're the best mother. You're awesome. Shout out.
You're awesome. You're an awesome mom. Just a terrible manager. So
like she doesn't have a whole
career. Like,
listen, we're trying to take her out of poverty. Meanwhile, mom is a whole bitch.
I need her to take me out of poverty. Actually, I'm just kidding.
So listen, like Vanessa Bryant's mom just sued her, and what are y'all's thoughts on that? Like, I have this is a thing with like difficult people. This is not like just a difficult person. This is her family. So if you don't have any backstory on it, basically they gave her a house to stay in when Kobe was alive, right? God rest his soul, him and Gianna. Now that passive income is no longer there, I believe Miss Bryant is trying to like downsize. And so she kind of let her mom know, like her mom kept going to the tabloids on her. So she was just kind of like, you've got you have to get out of this house, basically. And so she took the house and the car back. And then, you know, basically told her 50, 60 some year old mother that, you know, she's got to now make a life for herself because they've been putting up for her this whole time. And I don't think that she has the income to support her house and her other children and her mother.
Yeah.
And
even
so,
if she did, like, you don't get to disrespect me and expect me
right,
to take care of you.
Right.
First of all, I mean, I probably wouldn't have. I would not have taken the house back. I feel like I would have been like, well, here's a trust for you, and you know, it would have been something like, if I'm, you know, a multi-millionaire, it probably would have been something like, here's a cool $1 million. You're 60 years old. The house is paid off. The car is paid off. You're gonna have to take care of the rest. Like, it's like almost like a severance package. Like, after this is done, I hope you know, learn how to save and budget correctly, because your utilities and everything else is in your name. So I wouldn't have like taken things back, because like that doesn't really serve me. It doesn't serve anyone. Like, I would have just left her with it and then been like, and now I'm gonna love you from a distance.
Yeah.
give me all that shit. No, I'm just kidding. I think if I was in that situation and mom was going to the tabloids on me,
yeah,
I think I would probably take it back, but I would take it back because I think the home was like a $250,000. The house was, at least. So I would take it back and I would get her a nice little
house.
That's
a $250,000 is $250,000. That's, no, it depends on where you live. Like,
yeah, you know, it was an expensive house. It was an expensive home. Like, she wasn't living in like, they didn't have her living in like a little condo. They had her comfortable, Smelia.
okay,
Like, she had a G-Wagon and they took it back. Like, come on now. So my thing about it is I would get her a nice little Kia, or what I would get her a nice.
Here's your Kia Sophia.
Here's your Kia, exactly. Here's your little Kia Soul, and I would get her. You know, I would pay the first year in a nice apartment and be like, okay, and now after this year, when this year's up, you're now responsible for your lease. You're now responsible for the rest of your car payments and everything else. What you do after that, you're a grown adult. You were living here before I married into money, you know?
Yeah.
And then maybe down the line, if we worked on our relationship, but it would never be a thing where it's like, you get to use me for money. Cause I have this really big thing where I want to just pay mom for all that she's done for me up until this point. I like really want to give her that money back and like a lump sum, and just be like, this is what you deserve because you got me to this point.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want it to be a thing where like mom is like
demanding of it,
demanding that I like pay her. But I want to be like,
but I feel like it's. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, here's $2 million, like million, because I feel like this is this up until, you know, the age where she stopped paying for my stuff. This is how much you spent on me.
Yeah. What do you think, Corey? I'll wait to say what I was going to say.
No, I just think I agree with the point that it should never be a thing where people feel entitled to what you have. Like, as for family, like, I hope to like make a lot of money to be financially stable. But if, you know, and I would love if God would bless me with a little bit more so that I could do nice things for you guys. But I think that like if my family ever started to feel entitled to what I make, and I feel like that is when it becomes a problem, because that is my boundary. My boundary is just like never feel entitled to anything of mine. Like, I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's money. I don't care. I don't care if it's talking to me in the morning. I just like, I feel like, you know, that's just that's just like a simple boundary of like respect and not feeling entitled to anyone's stuff, let alone like your own child. I guess like people feel very entitled to their children and like who their children are and what their children do, and oftentimes like forget that your child deserves respect and boundaries and to feel safe with you. And I think that's a thing that people just tend to forget.
I completely agree. I think people don't look at children as autonomous beings, which they completely are.
I think that's true though, because of the fact that there was a point where me and Corey, and I'm not, you know, our relationship is not like mother-child. It's always been sibling, but it was always like I was bossing Corey around and telling her what to do. Like, I did not see Corey as a human. I don't know what I saw her as, but I did not see her as a human.
As a doll.
I was your little doll. Yeah.
Like a doll.
She was like my child. She was like my doll, because for real, like it would be to the point where it took Corey cussing me out one day and just being like, I am a human being. I have my own thoughts. And I had to really sit back and be like, damn, she really has her own thoughts.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
She's
Because for a long
human.
time, it's like for a long time, I would tell Corey, like, this is what we're doing. And Corey would just go along with it.
Yeah.
So I never thought until she made it clear I have a problem with it. And I'm a grown woman and I've got my own thoughts. I said, oh, maybe I need to rethink this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people need that like snap wake up call.
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's also hard if you've grown up in like a semi-healthy family, like, you know, semi to healthy family, like that, at least, you know, maybe they don't initially observe your boundary, but once you let your boundary be known, they observe it. I think that's very different than like some other family dynamics.
Yeah.
Where like you're not allowed to have boundaries. You're not, you know, it's just expected. Oh, you know, you're just expected to do this. And I think maybe the difference, which it could be a cultural difference, right? So I think in certain cultures, right, like the expectation for what children are going to do is very different, right? So your children are like almost like your retirement policy. So if her mom is Mexican, or just, you know, comes from a different like background, not American, it could be that there's just an expectation that, hey, you know, there's multi-generational living in pretty much every other continent except every other country except for the US, where people, you know, there's
no thing as a nursing home. You take care of it.
No,
like,
that's not, I feel like that's not a thing in like most countries.
It's not.
I think that's like a US thing.
It
where
is.
You take care. So like for her mom, she might be thinking like, no, you absolutely need to take care of me. You are my retirement plan. Why did you think I pushed so hard for you? You know what I mean? Like it could be this whole thing that we're not privy to, because one, we're not in the inside of their family, and two, right, you know, we don't have that perspective, because I think even if we all like once we all ascend and just are super, super like monetarily successful, I don't think that our mom would take things from us. If we were like, here, mom, here's $2 million, she'd be like, I just want to park my Winnebago outside of your house.
Yeah. She's like, I just want to be next to you.
Yeah.
Can I have a hug?
Can you buy me a tree farm? Like, why don't you take that money and donate it to an environmental organization? Like,
I feel like even if we had more money than mom, she would still be like providing for us.
1000%.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to even step into her shoes. And so you just have to kind of have like empathy for people who go through that. Cause, you know, however she's handling it is how she's supposed to handle it. Because if you've not lived in her shoes, you don't really know what it's like to have your parent, you know, be suing you or selling your stories to the tabloid. That has to be incredibly hurtful.
Yeah. I agree. This has been awesome. I'm so happy that this was our first episode.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about dating apps. So join us.
I got stories for those.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome.
You do, girl.
It's going to be awesome next week, you guys. We do episodes every single Monday. Follow us at It's an Okay Podcast on Instagram. And there you can find our individual Instagrams. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
And if you have things that you want to hear us talk about, DM us at It's an Okay Podcast on Instagram. And yes,
we appreciate you guys. This has been It's an Okay Podcast, episode 1. Difficult people. We're signing out. We're signing out.
Fuck her out.